Welcome back. Where the fuck have you guys been? I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning. 4 o'clock. I beat my alarm. I did my weigh-in, filled in my checking form, which all of you good athletes should do. I've had meal one, I've had pre, I've made pre-workouts. That's a lie, I didn't make pre-workouts. The tank made pre-workouts. Why? It's fucking leg day. It's fucking leg day. Welcome back to the No Surrender series. My prep vlog for my transition from amateur classic bodybuilder to pro. This is a series that's going to show you every single step of the way for me winning my pro card. If you haven't already watched the first episode, go back and watch it. But today is episode number 2. We're going to be taking you through leg day. We've got conversation and topics and education around mobility, prehabilitation work from the tank.
I can now leg press. So I'm going to talk you through why I can now leg press, and obviously the fact that I have been injured if you've been following my journey for the last few weeks, because I've not been able to do anything due to my knees, and now I am pretty much fixed thanks to Luke Miller. So I'm going to talk you through that. But
we're going to take you through every single step of the way, every single week. Today is week and episode number 2. I am 98 kilos. I am at this very moment in time 8 kilos away from the cap with 11 weeks to go. It's exciting stuff. Stay tuned, baby. Let's go. Yes! So we're going to go and get my knee sleeves because it's leg day. We're going to change. We're going to go neoprene today because it's fucking freezing. Don't watch the garden. Nobody watch the garden. It's winter. It's -4 degrees. The shed looks more like an igloo. Very excited for leg day. I don't think I filmed a leg day for you guys on this channel. Certainly not on this episode in quite a while. Technical difficulty. So this is where we store all of the kind sponsors' gym equipment. Large. I may need a smaller size because my legs have got very slim. It's prep. I feel like large will do the job. Guys, if you need any gym equipment, cheap plug, go to Bear Grips, link in bio, raw for discount. Yeah, we're going to go large neoprenes. I tend to flip between neoprene and dual ply just at the time where I feel like it's necessary. The reality is I don't need dual ply. Dual ply are normally the sturdier ones, give you a little bit more support. The reality is, even at, and I'm not 11 weeks out, I'm actually 9 weeks out, which puts me perfectly in line because I've got 8 kilos to lose. And I've got 9 weeks to do it, 1% of body weight, as you know from episode 1. But I'm flipping back to neoprene because the reality is I don't need a crazy amount of support because I'm not training too crazy because obviously I'm not going to risk injury. Today, and I haven't had this conversation with Mads yet, and I'm not planning to, I'm hoping she doesn't notice, I'm going to be back squatting. I've had back squatting for the last couple of weeks, and obviously managing recovery during prep is very, very important. Managing risk during prep is very, very important, but sometimes you've got to make a decision of what's going to get the best out of your training, and what you're going to enjoy the most, and as a result obviously what are you going to get the best out of. So I prefer back squatting. I don't really like hack squatting. I don't really like pendulum squatting. I don't like leg pressing. Squatting is my movement. I can do it safely. I'm good at it. So I'm going to be back squatting today with these babies. Whilst we are waiting for Madeline, we may as well give you the insight as to where we currently are. So, variables specifically, 10,000 steps a day, 200 milligrams, 2,000 milligrams, 200 milligrams testosterone, keeping me within physiological range. Food is currently still sat at where it was in episode 1 2 weeks ago. at 350 grams of carbs a day. Nothing is changing because the rate of loss is perfect. Now, one thing this prep has done for me, and from a coaching perspective, personally from an anecdotal perspective, the confidence of being able to manage clients through a prep phase and maximise. Just wait. Better be for me. Hello.
Hey buddy, how you doing?
Oh goodness, you look warm.
Huh?
You look warm.
I'm fucking toasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna start stripping off shortly. Right.
So
You
you
alright with that on your own?
I don't
Or do
know.
you need aid? I'll leave you to it.
Lift with the back, not with the knees, right?
There you go.
You're in the shit. So, what I was saying before Postman Pat rudely interrupted me with Mads's new parcel is the mindset for prepping clients and ensuring that we're maximising progression really has to be around the priority of the prep, and that specifically is to lose body fat. So overexposure to androgens, which I've never pushed anyway, but the message that is conveyed whilst going into prep, you need to grow into prep, you need to do this, you need to do that, it's bullshit. If I can lose, so far I've lost what, 15 kilos? 15 kilos of body fat, yeah. I would say pretty confidently, no muscle deterioration, eating a good amount of food, consistently walking 10,000 steps per day, taking 200 mega test. That's keeping me in physiological range. So all I'm simply doing is focusing, number one, on maintaining tissue. Number two, maximising fat loss through a calorie deficit. And number three, just working hard and staying consistent. If you do that, you don't need to drive androgens, you don't need to drive lipolytics through the fucking roof, and you don't need to put yourself in unhealthy situations. Prep is not a time to try and grow. You're not in an optimal position to do so. You are not driving any protein accretion in a calorie deficit, no matter how much androgens you run. So if you're overexposing yourself to androgens, lipolytics, okay, trying to drive fat loss, fair enough, but overexposure to androgens is a waste of fucking time because you ain't driving protein accretion anyway. So that's something that I've taken away a hell of a lot during this prep and during this process of how much can actually be done when you are consistent. This pug, look at this pug.
You ready?
Fuck's sake. Yeah, come on, let's go. And this is why you go with Bear Grips and use Raw for discount. So get a nice little bag, but use Raw for discount. Always use Raw for discount. What do you reckon, Bish?
Raw 10.
Raw 10 is it? Oh fuck! Correct that, yeah? I'm going to type that in. Raw 10. And get a goodie bag. Come on in, let's fucking get massive.
Corey's just picked up his headphones, but I know he definitely hasn't charged them, so we're going to get to the gym and he's going to be pissed off when he starts walking on the treadmill and they don't work. You charge your headphones?
I don't want to talk about it. Make me feel silly. This is my vlog.
Anyway,
You're
let's
embarrassing
go.
me in front of my viewers.
You don't need headphones today because you're on the camera.
But what if I want to do a hardcore set?
You can't do hardcore sets, you weigh like nothing now.
Ha! Light. Like a fucking feather.
Let's go. Dogs, come on.
I'll show you a life hack. If your car's frozen, plastic bag. This is the best thing you will see on YouTube today. This is sick, honestly. Come with sleep. Come with sleep if you want to de-ice.
This is you buying stuff, not me.
No, I have nothing to do with that. Take no responsibility. You ready? You ready? Is that good? Is that good? You like that?
That's good, mate, yeah.
This is how we de-ice the Rawmobile. all of the heat. Sleeve raw comes with all the heat. You're done now. You're impressed with that?
It's good, mate.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can literally just drag it across. It becomes like a bit of a game. And in that way, your hands stay warm because you're holding on to warm water. Even Stephen laughed. He laughed. He was like, this is sick. This guy's a fucking genius. So, not only are we bringing you top-notch content for bodybuilding, we're also helping you navigate yourselves through life and stay safe. I feel like I'm going to need another bag, but warm water, plastic bag, wipe that shit on the window.
If you're not turning up to the gym genuinely with a bag that looks like that, you are not prepared for your session. So I'm going to take you through some mobility work that I've started doing. Because I have had some injured knees, done some work with Luke Miller, and it turns out I haven't got injured knees. What I've actually got is some issues in my hips and my adductors. So essentially I've got a bit of imbalance. And where I've been growing with this bit of an imbalance, I've obviously made it exponentially worse. So I've probably lacked on mobility stuff. I've always thought my stretching routine was pretty good, but it turns out it's not. And actually making sure that you are stretching properly before your sessions, whether it's on legs or whether it's on upper body, is really, really important. So I'm going to show you some of the activation work that I'm going to do, and also the test work that I'm going to do to see if I'm actually opened up on both sides of my hips correctly before I go into my session, and walk you through a little bit of mobility work that I'm going to do beforehand. But just as a bit of advice to you, often when you have pain somewhere, it's not actually the source of the problem. I've had horrendous knee pain, it feels like the tendons underneath my patella are going to break at any point. That isn't the issue. So it's the insertion into my hip, pulling over my quad and into the insertion underside of my knee. So essentially putting this new mobility work in and doing these stretching has fixed the issues in my hips, which in turn has removed the pain from my knees, which means I can now progress and start moving back into some of my squatting patterns. So essentially, if you think you've got an injury, it might just be because you're not very good at mobility work, so do not neglect it.
All about walking. What the fuck is going on here? Now it's interesting. To be fair, we talk about rehab work, mobility work. Something that I do find, and something I want you guys to take away, is the idea of stimulating, great, but not over-exhausting yourself where you're in a position before you even get into your actual work that's going to make the difference. Actually focus on what you need to be doing to get the most out of yourself. This kid's behind me, I can see him in the mirror. He's gonna dodge through. Try and avoid the camera lens. It's like a fucking movie set here. Warren's gonna walk past now and just cast a shadow over everyone. The size of his shoulders. Run. With regards to getting yourself ready for legs, for example, you'll hear people say, jump on the bike, warm the knees up, get on the stairs, warm the knees up. The reality is you're actually causing a lot of stimulus by doing that, and you'll find that coming into exercises like squatting patterns, you're actually overexhausted. So just think about the approach you're taking before getting into these heavy work. Focus on how you're getting into it. So I've come away from getting on the bike because I find that actually pumps my legs up so much that when I start getting into my load, and you could say, well, maybe you're just not strong enough. Well, the reality is you're not trying to overexert yourself, you're just trying to get yourself in a position where for those movements you're as productive and as optimal as possible. So Mads is going through these movements now, and that is only to set herself up for her actual working movement. So don't overexhaust yourself, just get yourself set and ready. You'll recognize and realize that me and Mads are doing completely different movements for our rehab work, mobility work. My belief around leg work specifically and preventing injuries is really about ensuring that your active mobility and range throughout your hips and ankles, or pelvis and ankles, is the most important thing. Now the reality is, although I look like a bit of a fucking donut doing this, me being mobile through my hips and ankles are going to be the only thing protecting my knees, which are going to have the biggest impact in connective tissue damage whilst training legs. So vitally important now, understand that this isn't exhausting. I'm not overstretching. There's nothing worse than a loose muscle. You need to be tight going into these sessions, because tautness to the muscle is what's going to be the difference between you having firepower. What's the difference between, you think, what's the difference between a short, thick elastic band and a long, thin elastic band? Which one's tighter? Which one's more explosive? Which one has more strength and power? Shorter one, right? So all we need to do when it comes to muscles specifically is ensure that mobility is there, range is there, but you keep yourself tight and you're not overexposed to over-lengthening, over-shortening, and being in a position, again, where you're fatigued or overstimulated. So these are exercise patterns that I go through every single leg day, to be fair, most training days, to ensure that I'm as mobile as I possibly can be, but not over-fatigued from my movement pattern. The key is always to test and then retest. So prior to going into my pelvic mobility exercises just then, which I run every single session, I did a bodyweight squat. Now, after doing both sides, I can sit into the hole, absolutely perfect. So I move my toe angles, can squat absolutely perfectly. Now what I'll do, I'll go through my ankle mobility exercises, retest that again, and you'll see how much better my mobility is off the back of that, preparing me for all of my exercises that I'm about to embark on. This for me is the most easy and efficient way to increase ankle mobility. There's loads and loads of different ways, and I'm not telling you which way to do or which way not to do, but for me, efficiency, effectiveness, what I want you to do, and this is a retest motion as well, so you look at how far, watch the vibrams, you look at how far my foot is away from this bar, for example. So always have the same position and place where you test this. If you can measure it, that'd be great, but even just coming away, pulling back, say about starting there. Try and drive the knee over the toe, making sure the pressure is here, over the big toe. Try and drive the knee into the position point that you try and drive it, whether it be a wall or a bar. I can pull my toe back a little bit further and I can drive. And now what we're going to do is we're going to straighten, we're going to drive the knee. Straighten, drive the knee. And I run that for 10 reps on each side. You'll feel a big stretch of the back of the leg, up the calf, and what you'll be able to find is over time, if you repeat this, your ankle mobility will be better. So if your ankle mobility again is great, your pelvic mobility is great, you will find that your knees will stay bulletproof to the work that you're putting through the constant knee flexion and load that the connective tissue is under. You will be in a better position to continue accelerating your leg training, preventing injuries, which is the most important thing. We've done a lot of talking. Time to fucking work. Hypers, lying hamstring curl, squat, leg extension, and calf. 5 fucking exercises, 9 weeks, 9 kilos. Enough talking, Cue the fucking montage. Let's go.
He's low on food. I don't know what Amber would say because he's talking about herds and shit. I'm like, just what are you gonna say?
I am a fucking natural habitat. I'm just skeleton, bones in the desert right now. Fucking battered. Bites you quick, this shit. And you actually start getting lean. It's really, really good when you're like semi-lean, or when you're like lean, not in condition, when you're lean. And you can post it on Instagram, and you've got loads of energy. After that, you start navigating into actually being peeled. It's fucking shit. I've done
the last fifth, the last quarter.
Yeah,
last quarter. Just hits you. This one.
I've got 9 weeks to go, 9 kilos. I already feel broken. It's gonna be good. We embrace the suck. No surrender, baby.
That is also because he is shredded. That is why he feels shit, because he is shredded. There's no body fat on him, which most people don't get to. So, oh, mate, it was me. I was gonna flex. No more. Yeah, mate. Levels. Yeah, that is ridiculous. It's the way it moves.
You gotta be emotionally unstable to this shit. I get off that, I feel like I want to cry.
No, like heartbreaking.
Get yourself a bodybuilding coach, get yourself a therapist, get yourself a logbook, get to fucking work.
So, I'm about to jump on the nice new Atlantis hack squat. Obviously, I've had this injury, inverted commas injury, and now I'm injuries. I'm starting to reintroduce knee flexion work and quad dominant work into my sessions. Now, it's important that I don't just throw my old sessions back at my body and start hammering all of this work, because I could end up in the position that I was in, or I'll end up in an early grave and need a deload after like 3 sessions. So what I'm doing is replacing one movement in each of my leg sessions with something that drives this kind of stimulus. So knee flexion, quad dominant work, one exercise, one proper working set per session. So then when I do start to properly reintroduce these back into my sets and my sessions going forward into my push phase, I've already provided my body with a novel stimulus that it's going to need to get used to the movement, so I can then start progressing them without being absolutely trashed into the floor by doing something new. So this is the choice for today. We'll see how we get on, but mobility work was good. I've got no pain, so I'm hoping this is going to go well.
This is like the walk of shame. Having to take a plate off because you overshot. Fuck prep. To be fair, it's not terrible. It's just more the idea that, like, on prep, not every session is going to be great. The reality is, most of them are going to be pretty shit. And for us to be able to stay positive, we've just got to accept that and keep it moving and keep ticking the boxes. Consistency over everything. Stick to your logbook, stick to your numbers, progress if it's there, but obviously appreciate that even if you microload, your strength, the weight ratio just won't be there. So the last time I squatted this, I was 2 kilos heavier. I'm 2 kilos lighter now. So my ability to brace under that load is just diminished. It's shit, but it's necessary. Where we get called extra bodybuilders. It's like Inspector Gadget opening his coat to try and drive protein accretion. But the reality is, like I said to you guys, and like I always say, stability is your biggest ability to drive your ability to brace, and then your ability to drive force and stimulus. So if we lock our hips in with this on extension and we strap in hard, the only thing that can possibly move in is your quad. Yeah? So I'm going to show you how to set this up. Really, really simple. I'll probably suggest getting a shorter lashing strap. If you want a link for this, guys, comment in the comment section below. Hit me on Instagram in the DMs and I'll send you a link for a lashing strap. That's what they're called. Seat belt, whatever you want to call it. But lock yourself in to the pad. Cut that bit. Are you joking? Keep it raw. Raw coaching. Lock yourself in, you're in. You strap into the handles. Then the only thing that's moving is the legs. Bum doesn't lift. You're locked in. Your ability to drive a brace will drive your ability to drive stimulus. Now, with the leg extension specifically, there's no such thing as turning your toes out for more VMOs or turning your toes in for more vastus flat. Keep your toes, everything in line, hips, knees and feet. Keep everything straight so we can maximise stimulus in the way that the muscles are actually formulated. It worked. Very full. First thing about it, it's not even a pump situation. There's no pump. There's nothing there. It's just flaccid fucking muscle. Weak, flaccid, bitchy muscle. That's what it is.
Knees are intact, did a hack squat, ready to progress. Corey might be another kilo lighter tomorrow by the look at this.
I feel like shit. I feel like shit. Really good session though. This, what's really nice about this most importantly is obviously you guys get an insight into what we're doing. We're always available to like answer questions, support you guys on your journey. We'll always try and give you the most amount of information as we possibly can out of every single video. What is also nice is, for me, and I'm probably just super emotional, tired and fucking hungry, but I actually get to spend a little bit more time with Mads because of this. So I'm very, very grateful for the No Surrender series. Road to Pro, episode 2 was an absolute fucking blast. My legs feel fucked, but as always guys, like, comment, subscribe.
Hopefully you took something away from that and there was some useful bits of information in there as well.
I don't even give a fuck.
But
just
like,
do all those things because you feel
subscribe,
sorry for me.
Message us if you've got any questions. The next one we'll be doing next week and maybe you'll be a little bit more shredded and I might be hack squatting more than 3 plates a side. Stay tuned.